Hello there, everybody. I'm Mel Allen, and this is Baseball Collector.
Yo and hello guys, Mike here, Baseball Collector. It's Friday of a long weekend, a 3-day weekend for me. It's Labor Day weekend and I'm going to just do some fun stuff. I got a lot that I want to accomplish in this video and I'm going to do a couple things. Number one, something I never do hardly, is a book review, and the second is to show off some mail. I got this stack right here to talk about and show. So might be a little bit longer video, I don't know, we'll see. But the book review that I want to give has a kind of funny story to it. So I had a book that I wanted to buy. It's a baseball card book, obviously. I mean, what else would you read besides the Bible maybe? But other than that, I'm reading baseball card books. And the card book that I wanted was $50, and I was like, do I really want to get it? And so I had it in my Amazon cart. I say mine, Julie's Amazon cart. And she bought it for me, so it was really cool. So I got it in the mail the other day. I've been reading it. And so I'll just show you the book, then we'll start talking about it. So it's right here. Baseball Hall of Fame Autographs by Ron Kirchen. And this is the second edition. Here's the first edition. I have this. I call it the Bible. I call it the Hall of Fame Autograph Bible, because in here it's just chock full of things that you need to know, things to look out for, examples of signatures, etc. And the second edition has that too. It's updated with all the newer Hall of Famers. The first one was written in, let me look, I can't remember. I can tell you the second one was written in 2018, so it's new. This was 2012 is the copyright date on this one. So this one's 6 years later. It's updated. It's got all the new Hall of Famers, as I said. But it's a lot thicker, same exact size book. But what it's got so much of is great tips on building a collection, on what to look out for, what to do, how to collect, where to buy stuff, the difference between auction houses and eBay. I mean, it's really fantastic. It talks about altering and fakes, and I mean, it's just a unbelievable. It's called a reference guide, and it absolutely is. I mean, there's one thing in here that I found particularly interesting that I'm going to read you an excerpt from it. And so it's in this part called What to Collect. And again, I'm a Hall of Fame autographs is my thing. If I was to, I could get rid of everything else, but I would want to keep the Hall of Fame autographs. And it talks about this thing called the Ultimate Collection. And it says, for those of you who are trying to complete a signed Hall of Fame set, my advice to you is don't. This is an impossible task. No one has a complete set, and no one will ever have one. It is not possible to assemble a complete set. It is easier to find a cure for cancer than it is to obtain a signature for every Hall of Famer. So I both find that depressing and yet a relief that I don't have to just chase after all these things, because I'll never get complete anyway. And that's not kind of the point of the collection. It's to just add these greats of the game to my collection. And so I really love how he puts it, and is just pretty blunt about, look, this is what it is. You're not going to get there. He has some other great things about, basically Ty Cobb, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth. You can't go wrong owning autographs of those guys. He talks about cards as an investment, or autographs as an investment, not cards themselves. I mean, it's just full of great tips and things. And then it has, so that's that much of the book is tips and stuff. And then the rest of the book is different. So a page might look like this, where it has a player's name, and then it has different sections on what their signature is like, in terms of its construction and flow and all that kind of stuff. It talks about the signature population out there, like how many of them, is this an easy autograph to get, a hard autograph to get? Talks about what to look for in terms of forgeries and how to spot those. And then it kind of gives you a little price guide. And for most of the inexpensive, it'll just say basically you can find this kind of stuff under $100 pretty easy. And then it gives you an example of a signature. So there's Luis Aparicio. If it's a player that is faked a lot, so like right next to Aparicio is Cap Anson right here. And so you got real signatures of Cap Anson and a couple over here, and then what are called secretarial. So basically mail that was sent in or stuff that was signed by someone else. They just use the term secretarial for that. And it shows examples of that for tons of players that have had that, like Hank Aaron. All his through the mail stuff that was done back in the 80s and 90s is all pretty much secretarial. None of it's real. And he talks about that and talks about why that is. And so to me, this book is one of those things that is an absolute have to own if you're into Hall of Fame autographs at all. Not just because it's a great reference and a great way to save yourself from getting, kind of hosed on something that you might be looking to purchase on eBay or whatever, but it's just cool information, and it's great to just expand your knowledge base and learn about different aspects of the hobby. And so I can, again, consider this kind of a must-own for anyone who does Baseball Hall of Fame autographs. So, and by the way, I go through mine and I highlight what I have and what I don't. I mark it up. I am not afraid to make a book using it's a tool, and so you use a tool, and so that I have no problem. I go through it's not I absolutely just obliterate it in terms of marking it up. So I give it definitely 2 thumbs up in terms of getting that book. So got a lot of mail. It's enough of the book review. Let's get to some cards. Hang on one second. Speaking of Hall of Fame autographs, I actually think I only have one in this stack of stuff. We'll see. But the other stuff, I've been getting some stuff that, I don't know, I found some really cheap autos, and I've started picking them up. These were from Baseball Card Exchange, actually, and that is Al Oliver on the Rangers. The first few I have here are all guys that I think might have a shot at the Hall of Fame at one point. Al Oliver is certainly kind of one of those fringe guys that may or may not get in. But again, as we all say, if Harold Baines is in, then everybody else is possible. And so there's the Al Oliver, beautiful on a Texas Rangers card, which I love. Next is a guy that I actually really think has a great shot this year when the Veterans Committee meets and decides to vote, and that's Ted Simmons, who was a great catcher back in the 70s and 80s. Cardinals, Brewers, a couple teams, and this is my first Ted Simmons autograph. A couple of these guys, it's my first auto of them, and I'm going to pull up my spreadsheet here while you're looking at Ted, because I thought it was kind of interesting. I was thinking, man, how many players do I have? How many different? As I'm getting new players that I've never had before, how many different players do I have? And I'll tell you those stats here in just a second. Let me get to one in particular that'll make that easier. Next up, I also got 3 Diamond Kings of guys that could get in. Just thinking, man, I'd rather get them now for my kind of Perez Steele craziness than have to worry about it later. And these, again, were so cheap. There's a 83 Donruss Diamond Kings, Keith Hernandez. Next one is former MVP Steve Garvey, who, again, I think has a good shot. If you look at his stats, he absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. That's an 82 Donruss. And the last one is Mr. Sweet Lou Whitaker in an 85 Donruss Diamond Kings. That's my first Lou Whitaker autograph as well. I didn't have any before. And he was number 585. I have 585 different baseball players, or baseball, not just players, but executives and managers and all that kind of stuff. But baseball autographs, 585. And I have my number's 3,051 right now as I shoot this video of total baseball autographs that I have in my collection. So quite a few. And I think Lou's got a good shot at some point with the Veterans Committee. Next up is an actual Hall of Famer. He is in the Hall of Fame, Raleigh Fingers. Yesterday, my buddy Garrett, Card Cutter is his YouTube channel. He did a video talking about player era cards, and it's become so popular. In fact, there's a whole section of it in the book by Ron Kirchen about Hall of Famer player cards and how incredibly popular they have become. You know, back in the day, it used to be blasphemy to think about ruining a trading card by having the player sign it. Now that's considered actually, you know, it enhances the value of the card. And so I saw this, I didn't pay much for it, $12, $15, something like that. It was already slabbed. It's a 1975 Topps, beautiful Raleigh Fingers card. What's cool is it's kind of the dual service, newer version where the card's a 7, which is solid, and then the autograph's just authentic. But you know, these player era ideas, he's buying Topps cards of Hall of Famers during their playing days, is really not the worst idea in the world. So I love it. Next up, a few slabs for my 3-decade set. We'll go through these quick because they're not anything, you know, just gigantic. We got an 88 Topps Tigers Leaders here in a mint 9. It's got Kirk Gibson and Hall of Famer Alan Trammell. Next up, another team card, and it's the 88 Topps with Kevin McReynolds and Gary Carter in a near mint to mint 8. And none of these, I mean, these cards are all incredibly inexpensive. There's 87 Topps Turn Back the Clock, Carl Yastrzemski. Looking back to 1967. I think he won the Triple Crown in 67. Next up, 81 Topps League Leaders, near mint 8. ERA Leaders with Don Sutton as a Hall of Famer on that one. Nice fro, Don. And we got a 1989 Topps Sparky Anderson manager card in a near mint to mint 8. All right, here we go. Now I've got 5 slabs, all pertaining to the same set, and I'm going to put one up just so you're not looking at a blank thing. But the last card Hall of Famer idea is something that I came up with. I'm sure I'm not the one to ever originate the idea, but it's the first time I ever saw it on YouTube, and it was something I thought would be a great project for people that are wanting to get into the Hall of Fame card arena, is to buy their last card. Everybody wants their rookie card and, you know, key cards like that, but not everybody can afford those cards. And so a great way to get into the Hall of Fame card game is to maybe look at their last card for a whole lot of reasons. And I told you guys that set got approved by PSA. Well, not only has it gotten approved, but it just went live on the PSA set registry a few days ago. I went ahead and started the set and went ahead and bought some more cards that I needed for the set. I bought 5 of them literally that day, and I went through, and the way I'm looking at this is none of these cards are expensive by themselves. I mean, these are literally quarter box kind of cards. They're not expensive. But when you factor in grading costs and, you know, shipping it back and forth from PSA, waiting a year and a half to get your cards back, etc., if I can get them for $10 or less, I'm going to feel like, okay, I'm at least kind of breaking even. And so I got this Kirby Puckett. It was $8.99 shipped, like total. And shout out to Dustin Abraham, big Kirby Puckett guy. Their channel is Dustin and Blake. They did a great video today, while I'm thinking about it, about they did a response for my 3,000 subscriber contest, which, I don't know, we're up to 35, 36 people that have done responses for that. That ends on Sunday. You have till Sunday, the end of day Sunday, to do your response. And then Monday on Labor Day, I'll do a random drawing or wheel or something where I pick a winner that's going to win $100 PayPal, $100 PayPal. So please, you know, let me know if you do a response. Put it in the original video that I did a few weeks ago with Eric. Was it me? It was Eric, future Eric, talking about the contest. But there's the Kirby Puckett. That's his last card. And again, what I love about last cards is on the back, you get to see the entire statistical life of the player. There's Kirby right there. can see all the red is leading the league. So nice mint 9 on that one, on that 96 Topps. Next up, I got, again, 5 of these totals, so 4 more and then I'll be done. We got a Tom Glavine 2008 Topps in a mint 9. What's also cool about the last card is sometimes you'll get players as they're playing out their string, and they go to different teams that you're just not, you're used to seeing Piazza as either a Dodger or a Met, and it's not known. I mean, I guess people forget that, oh yeah, Piazza played for the Padres, then he kind of finished it out with the A's, and so here's his last card pictured in an A's uniform. Next up, we've got Mr. Sandman himself, Enter Sandman, Mariano Rivera, Mr. 100%er. This is his last card, a 2014 Topps. Love this, him jogging in as he did many times into Yankee Stadium to close out a game. So cool. And this is a mint 9 as well. A lot of these are saying, well, why I have 9s in all of them. Well, they're cheap, and you could get 10s, but they're literally 2, 3, 4 times as expensive, and 9s are just fine. 9 is fine. This last card has an interesting story. So this is the last card of Hall of Fame pitcher Roy Halladay, just inducted this year. And what's interesting about this card is what you're going to find, or what I've found, is the populations on all these cards, the pops, are very low, because these cards just aren't graded that much. A lot of them are more modern, and unless you're just a super uber player collector and you're trying to get every card of that player or something, these just aren't getting sent in to get slabbed. They might now because of the set registry being there, and the set registries actually have a tremendous effect on people's desire to send cards in and what they want to send in. But this card here of Roy Halladay this is a pop 1. Like, this is literally the only 2014 Topps Roy Halladay card that has been graded to this point. I'm sure now more and more people will send it in, but this is it. There are no 10s. This is the only 9, and there's nothing lower than this. So I saw it. I way overpaid for this card. I paid like $24 for this card, and I feel totally stupid that I did, but again, I think it was more of an impulse. Like, man, I looked at the pop report. I saw this was the only one. I'm like, well, I'll just get it. And so there you go, guys. That's a whole lot of stuff. I covered a whole lot of bases, lots of things in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And let me know what you think down below. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good weekend. Keep collecting.